told you that out of all the people walking around in positive vibes and good vibe only t-shirts, only 47% of them were telling the truth. Truth of the matter is that if men were more positive, we'd get better results. Let's talk about it. Welcome to the lounge. Let's go.
Hey, sit, this is a lounge. Culture and justice, you know you can trust that we holding it down. Well, you can bet we applying that pressure, it come by the pound. Speaking the truth and allow just to do what makes us so profound. That's why we got the crown. Sit, this is a lounge. Culture and justice, you know you can trust that we holding it down. Well, you can bet we applying that pressure, it come by the pound. We living better no matter the weather, we sticking around. Come see what we found. Yeah, this is the lounge. V.S.O.P. for the record, no better. Yeah, this for the wealth. Both of the people are equals, no better. To speak for the culture, our needs and our health. Conscious it reign with dignity, giving the keys to victory and being a man. Lift up the culture, protected from leeches and vultures, and speak for who need in a hand. Cause this is the lounge.
Welcome back to the lounge. I am, of course, your host, Captain of the Cool Kids, host of the Grown Man Logic podcast, Dewan J. And I hope that all is well. For those of you all that are new to the platform, I am pro wrestler, actor, author, motivational speaker, and life coach, Dewan J. And this is the VSOP Lounge, where we have varied superior opinions and perspectives. I thank you guys for tuning in, especially during this series, because on different platforms that I go to and that I speak on, and I'm honored and privileged to collaborate with so many dope people. One of the chief things that I'm known for is throwing smoke and throwing shade and quote unquote red pill content, but that's neither here nor there. Fellas, this is your turn in the hot seat. It's your turn in the hot seat. We're in the middle of a series called Respect. We're talking about why there's trash in the dating pool due to lack of respect for men, but it's not the women's fault. Too many times we talk about there's no respect and women are only out for this and gold diggers and thoughts and 304s and things of that nature, but who created this culture? Who creates the vibe? Who determines what's valuable? Fellas, it's time for us to look in the mirror, and that's what this series is designed to do. We've talked about responsibility. We talked about effort. Last week, we spoke about strength. And tonight we're going to push P. Tonight, we want to talk about positivity and persistence. Positivity and persistence. Hopefully you're starting to see how all of these things are tying together. The acronym is RESPECT. That I said that in the initial episode of this particular series. The acronym is RESPECT, and tonight is positivity and persistence. You heard the intro, and the men that were surveyed, it was well over 5,000 men that were surveyed, and only 47% of those men reported being overall positive. Now, it's one thing to want positivity in your life, but is that what we're putting out? Is that what we're expecting to be reciprocated to us? Positivity. Are you the type of person that wakes up on a Monday morning and begrudgingly puts on your clothes and begrudgingly goes through, lackadaisically go through your morning routine, brushing your teeth, fighting yourself every step of the way? Or are you a go-getter? Are you a wake up, let's go type of person? Before we get too deep into this, where are my manners? The drink of the evening, brought to you in this beautiful 14.5 ounce highball glass, available on shopgrownmanlogicpod.com. Shopgrownmanlogicpod.com is simple, classy, and hood. Do say on the rocks. Do say on the rocks. Shout out to the great man Jay-Z. Okay, we're ready. The definition of positive: constructive, optimistic, and confident. I've spoken about this on this series on different occasions, where confidence comes from effort. Confidence comes from achieving tasks that you were responsible for. Confidence comes from failing and getting back up and willing to be tried again. Salute to my Freemason brethren. One of the things that we say: often tried, never denied, and willing to be tried again. And there's something to be said about that confidence, because you know that you're going to conquer whatever it was or whatever it is that was set forth before you. 47%. That's less than half. And when you account for the unmotivated, when you account for the incarcerated, when you account for the people who don't qualify for positions and relationships in the first place, it drops the numbers even more drastically than that. That's crazy. And we have to dig into this, and it's important because we have to figure out, where has all of the positivity gone? It's easy for us to shut ourselves inside of an echo chamber or blow up an epistemic bubble and only allow people in that have the same view as us, the people that don't want to disagree with us, and people that's gonna just cheer you on, pat you on the back, and tell you that all is right with the world. But those people are not your friends. Those people are not your support system. I don't disagree. I don't disagree with having a cheering section. I don't disagree with having people that are going to celebrate your wins with you. But I'm more an advocate for those opposing views, those that will present in opposition to your way of thinking and your way of living. Everybody's got to be checked every now and then. Everybody's got to be checked. You can ask the great man, you know, that one guy, the co-host of the Grown Man Logic podcast, about this. He checks me, I check him. You can ask anybody who works in any system where there's checks and balances, whether we're talking the cart pusher at Walmart or Target, whether we're talking the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, whether we're talking about a stock exchange broker, a real estate agent, no matter any of these six-figure positions, all the way down to the low two-figure positions. When it comes to dealing with relationships, wives are supposed to check husbands. Husbands are supposed to check wives. There has to be balance. Because if there's no balance, then all is chaotic and there's anarchy inside of the world. So the point that I'm making is that the balance is constructive. And that being checked, that constant reminder that everything is not perfect is actually a healthy thing. And we should take that as a positive thing. We should take it as someone caring enough to actually stop our actions because they could probably see something that we can't see. That's why it's important. But positivity leads to overall better health by protecting from adverse events, strengthening emotional well-being, and fostering better relationships. What does that mean? What does that mean? Now, initially, the series started out as, hey fellas, here's what the women are checking for, and here's where we're falling short. But it expands, it grew, it evolved to talking about jobs and talking about different positions and talking about your status in life. I talked about in the Kill Bill series. Go check that out. If you have not had the opportunity, please go give that a listen. I talked about how, being connected and having a strong support system is one of the most valuable things that a person possesses, especially a man. Nobody has accomplished anything great by themselves. It doesn't matter if it was Dr. King, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Toussaint Louverture. Jesus Christ himself had 12 disciples. Everybody needs help. And to put yourself in the most advantageous position, to take advantage of everything that you have in life, you need to learn to leverage your network. But before you can leverage anything, you have to learn to build it. Nobody wants to be around a negative Nancy. Nobody wants to be around somebody that's always got something to complain about, because it weighs on you mentally and emotionally. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't help your friends that are down. You shouldn't listen, allow people to vent. But for every venting of a conversation, there needs to be a solution. There needs to be a resolution and a game plan to get everything back on track. There has to be. We have to start searching for silver linings in life. Otherwise, life is going to continue to shit on us. It's going to continue to rain, if I'm putting it in the PG-13 time frame. It's going to continue to rain on us. And we're outside with our pants down and no umbrella. And no man should be caught like that. You often hear men complain that women don't respect men. And, we have the Father's Day post and the single moms out there saying, I'm the mom and I'm the dad as well. Women are throwing degrees in men's faces. The fact that they got their own bank account in men's faces. And fine. Okay, cool. You got it. You got your status. You've bossed up. But that shouldn't have been necessary in the first place. The reason that women are competing with men for leadership positions is because they could find no man to lead. And as a result of that, this isn't just red pill rhetoric. This isn't just something that Dewan J thought about. This isn't just something that is a continuation of the legacy of the Godfather, right? This isn't any of that. T.D. Jakes talks about this. Umar Johnson talks about this. The fact that women can't find any positive men is literally costing us families inside of this community. What does being positive do for you? It allows you to fix problems and design for the future at the same time. Just like I was saying, it's okay to have a bitch fest, a conversation where you're just venting, as long as it ends in a resolution. A clear objective has to be laid out: the when, what, where, and how. And the brain will automatically fill in the spaces. It's crazy how once you lay out exactly what it is that you want to do, your brain will automatically fill in the holes. I want to lose 50 pounds by December by going to the gym. That's your what, when, and where. And your brain is going to fill out the rest. It's amazing how that works. It also allows you to be positive and optimistic at all times. Now, we have to be careful here. Being positive and optimistic at all times, it doesn't necessarily mean that bad stuff doesn't happen. But the person is judged by how they respond to a major event, not the major event in itself. In other words, if something fucked up happens to you, it's not about the event itself. Everybody goes down bad at some point in their life for some reason. But how do you respond? Do you respond? Are you the type of person that's going to wallow in self-pity and crave the attention and post the subliminal messages to the significant other that dumped you, right? But positivity is probably one of the reasons that you got dumped in the first place. Even when you're going into a job, right? The employer, the boss, the CEO, the supervisor, he wants somebody that's positive. Somebody's going to come in with great energy that's going to uplift the spirit of the building. You have to add. I talk about this all the time. You have to add value. And positivity and being a positive person is one of those things that is invaluable. And people say you can't teach it, but you can. You absolutely can. Your only limit in this life is your imagination. You hear me on the Grown Man Logic podcast all the time, as of late, talking about the Eli Initiative, the energy, love, and imagination. With those three things, there's nothing that can't be conquered. And, following me on like all these social medias, I'm giving away the game for free. But being positive and optimistic is actually based off past experience. So to remain this way at all times requires thought and effort. There's that E word again. We talked about it 2 weeks ago. Effort. People that are world-class athletes don't always want... Stephen Curry doesn't always want to shoot a basketball. He's sore. 82 games plus however deep they run in the finals. His body's worn. He doesn't always want to go, but he knows that he has to. Because the time that you waste doing something else, somebody else is doing productive work on what's supposed to be your purpose and what's supposed to be your calling. So we have to find that positive and silver lining when it comes down to these things, because positivity attracts. We spoke about it. Constructive, optimistic, confident. And to bring this whole thing full circle when it comes to the dating market, if you're positive and optimistic, you can get a woman to follow you. You can get somebody to hire you. You can get somebody to invest in your business by being confident, by being optimistic, by being positive. But don't be disingenuous. Part of achieving being a positive person is persistence, which is why I tied these two things together. The definition of persistent: continuing firmly or obstinately in a course of action in spite of difficulty or opposition. Continuing firmly or obstinately in a course of action in spite of difficulty or opposition. Now, persistence. We have to be careful here. There's good persistence and there's bad persistence. Good persistence is purpose-driven. I have to reach my goal. I have to achieve my task. I have to get there. Bad persistence is thirsty. Good persistence, being purpose-driven, means that you're being confident and you're being aware that you can achieve what it is that you're trying to achieve. And bad is being needy and confused. Let's break it down to its simplest form. Women on Instagram. Let's do it. Because fellas, all of you out there have double tapped, put fire emojis, put heart-eyed emoji. You've all done it. Slid in a couple of DMs. Like, I know. And that's why you're watching this program. But let's take it simple. Confident, aware. Hey, how are you? You slide into the DMs or you submit your resume on Monster, Jobbing, whatever, LinkedIn, and you don't get it. So you send a follow-up. Hey, I was just wondering if you saw my last message. Did you see my last email? Did you see my last DM? Did you see it? Okay, cool. But you have to be aware to know when there's no buy-in from the other party. You're confident that you can get this done. But you have to also be aware. Because when you're not aware, that's when it goes into that creep mode. That's when it goes into the needy and confused. Right? You're reading the signals wrong, or whether or not that person, that business, that entity actually wants you in the first place. You don't know if they're playing hard to get, or you don't know if they're outright being nice about shutting you down. We're confused. And then we act needy as if that was the last grasp in the world. And then we get fellas that wonder why women follow for the bad boy or women fall for the asshole. Well, quite frankly, it's because that guy acts like he doesn't need her. And secretly, it drives her nuts. Because what's wrong with this guy? I've got everything else that I've wanted in my life. But this guy acts like he doesn't care. He doesn't give a damn. What's wrong with him? Better yet, what's wrong with me? These are the questions, right? So energy can neither be created nor destroyed. These are facts. But the transference of energy is something completely different. So no, persistence, the good and the bad. I'm available for sessions at all times. Just shoot me a DM at DeJuan O'Neal1 or email talk2gml@gmail.com. And we can talk about this and we can unpack it easily. But let's get into the mentality of a persistent man. A persistent man knows the difference between wants and needs. Your wants, hey, that'd be nice to have. Your needs, if I don't have it, I'm gonna die. When you're able to draw that hard barrier in between the two, you're invincible. You're invincible to arguments, you're invincible to drama, you're invincible to anything that's negative, and that's going to actually feed into your positivity. Persistent men don't push too much or require the validation of a 100% success rate. There's sometimes you're going to fail. And I've spoken about it. Fail forward, fail often. CEO mantra. Because if you fail forward and you fail often, you learn ways not to do anything, to do something, and you get the bullshit out of the way. And with the bullshit gone, straight, you smooth out your paths to your destination, to your purpose. 7 habits of a persistent person. More specifically, this was a persistent man. All-consuming vision. Often dreamers or visionaries, driven by their objective. Persistent people are initially called crazy. Hey, I want to do this. I want to start a multi-million-dollar podcast. I want to start a clothing line. I want to release my own brand of headphones. Imagine the first guy that started hip hop. Grandmaster Flash and the Boys. How many people you think told him, hey, you don't make music like that? That's not lyrically sound. It's not pleasing to the ear. How many doors were shut? But they were visionaries. And now look, hip hop drives the culture all because one guy decided to use different diction than what was the status quo at the time. A burning desire, that inner energy to keep them motivated through tough times. Because I said, everything's not 100% success rate. It's not. It's not going to be, can't be. It's illogical to even think that. It is. inner confidence, highly developed habits. Back in the Kill Bill series, I talked about habits. You want to move off of habits and not just motivation, because motivation is fleeting, right? It waves, it goes up and down, it fleets, right? But your habits become routine. The ability to adjust and adapt. Life is a series of dead ends, detours, and adjusting. But we must keep the complete faith that we will reach our final goal. You're gonna have to change course, change routine, change avenues. But you will get there, and you have to believe that. You're also a persistent person that's committed to a lifetime of learning. The minute that you come to the conclusion that you know everything is the minute that your growth stops and the minute that you die. You're either doing two things in this life. You're either growing or you're dying. And the minute that you've perfected what it is that you're doing, you're dead. And persistent people also have role models that act as guides, carefully chosen people put around them, which is what I was talking about earlier. You can build your support system, but if there's not one or two people out of your top 5, shout out to the great man MTR, if there's not one or two people out of your top 5 that are willing to tell you no and willing to tell you that what you're doing is foolish or illogical, they failed you. And you've chosen the wrong set of people to be around. So it's cool to coke and joke with the boys, cool to laugh and have a kickback, have a kiki, as some of my friends say, right? But you have to have somebody in there that has their mind on the purpose, their mind on the vision. Somebody who is on this ride with you and is not going to let you drive them off the tracks. There has to be. And I'll leave it right there. Tonight we pushed P. Positivity and persistence. Do you agree? Disagree? Email me. talk2gml@gmail.com. talk2gml@gmail.com. You can text or call this lounge. The number's at the bottom of the screen as we speak. For all your merch, like this highball glass, t-shirts, jammies, the new fragrances that were released by myself and Eric. Shop growmanlogicpod.com. I thank you guys for stopping by the lounge. Join us next week as we talk about efficiency. Cheers.